one of the most fundamental differences between a dictatorship and a free society is the ability of people to have privacy. It's one of the main reasons why children eventually leave the home of their parents. Because they want their own home, because they want privacy. They don't want daddy to come in the middle of the night and ask them, when are you going to go to bed? They don't want mommy to decide what's for dinner, right? Like, they become grown-ass adults, and they want to move into their own place so they have privacy. Now, there is this poll which has been conducted, and it is one of the most harrowing things that I have ever seen in my YouTube career, unironically. The poll asks the question to various races, as well as genders: would you like the government to have a surveillance camera in your home in order to be able to prevent domestic disputes? Now, I pretty much know how my audience would answer to that, but I want you to just imagine, right? Like, there is a camera in your house, Big Brother style, monitoring everything you do in order to be able to prevent domestic disputes. And surely, like, the government will not use it for anything else, right? It's just domestic disputes. Everything you do gets to be monitored by a person at the government. Would you like that? Kind of like in prison, isn't it? Like, do they have cameras in the prison cell, or do those at least have some privacy? Well, the answers to the poll is very concerning. Apparently, 14% of people are in favor. Now, despite the fact that the number seems to be low, take into account we're talking about millions of people here. Like, America has over 350 million citizens. 14% of that, you do the math. When you look at it on party lines, obviously the Democrats are higher by 6%. It's not that big of a difference as compared to when you look at the age, right? So, as you can see here, people who are over the age of 65 are realizing how abhorrent this would be, while people between the age of 18 and 29 have a startling 30% desire for their homes to be monitored. You know, in my country, I kept saying this, but there are laws against reading another person's mail. Like, if my wife gets a letter and it's her name on it, I am legally not allowed to touch it without her permission. If my wife leaves her email open, I am legally not allowed to read it without her permission. If my wife has her phone open, I am legally not allowed to look into it without her permission. If I do this, the moment she, and only she can do this, but like the moment she goes to the cops and says that I violated the secret of correspondence, I can go to prison. The reason the laws are this harsh here, and they're set this way, is because we actually benefited from communism. A system where the government did try to control every aspect of your existence, including your privacy. So the communists would love this. Like, this was their wet dream. They would have desired this from their people. And all authoritarian regimes do. Like, the Nazi government probably wanted this as well, and to be able to have a camera into every person's home. But the difference is that at the time, it was considered to be disgusting, unpopular, horrible. I mean, there is a reason why Orwell managed to sell that fucking book. It's that it was so outstanding. It was like, what do you mean, there's a camera in my house? Like, that is so sci-fi. But now, 30% of youth wants that. Like, they think it's a good idea. And obviously, it's curious to see how their children are going to react. Now, when you look at the races, white 9%, Asian 11%, Hispanic and black 25 and 33%. I do not understand why the difference in this ideology is. Like, why do they believe that it's a good thing? But I guess, like, Hispanics and black people in the United States really must trust the government. They really must believe that the government is up for their own good. Or maybe they believe that the government isn't going to punish them or something. I just want you to remember the Steven Crowder incident, which is basically the fact that his wife was supposed to do the grocery shopping. She didn't do them. So Steven Crowder said, okay, well, if you didn't do it, then I will. I will take the car. And she goes like, no, you're not taking the car. I'm taking the car instead. And they're having like this domestic dispute, which is non-physical. It's just like harsh words. And that's already a problem, right? So I guess like the government should be able to step in on that, right? Like imagine how your life would be knowing that any time you say something, even in joke, or even when you're upset, it can be taken out of context and you'd end up in prison. Like, how many wives would not be locked up if the moment they start screaming at their husband or the moment they start demanding something from their husband would be considered a violation? And I am guaranteeing to you, like, if this would actually be applied equally, regardless of gender, like, there would be a lot of women that would have to, like, there would have to be new prisons built for women, because I used to live in an apartment where I could actually hear what's going on in my neighbors' homes, and usually it was a woman screaming, from my personal experience, right? But I don't think she should go to prison. But apparently, you know, like, if what happened with Steven Crowder is like, oh my god, this is unacceptable, then in the apartment that I lived in, when I heard the women screaming at their husbands every fucking night so that I couldn't sleep, because that's why I was even hearing them, I mean, they should go to prison as well. But still, it is just mind-blowingly bizarre. Now, the reason that I find this shocking is that while the government is never going to install their own camera into your house, there are corporations that do it. Like, there are companies that create smart homes where they can have access, you know, like the camera is connected to the internet and someone from their company could look at it. There's now little toy robots with a camera inside and they get to play into your house and they're connected to the internet and all type of shit, right? So basically, like, people would genuinely consent. I remember a couple of years ago when Xbox One came along and they were just making this trailer with its features, and it was like its webcam is always going to be online. That's what they initially said. And there was such a massive backlash that eventually they had to backpedal. But now I suppose people would be fine with it. Oh, okay, so it's always online. Like, who cares? It is incredibly concerning. Again, like, this is not concerning because just you're going to have a camera in your house, but it's concerning that people legitimately believe that the government is their friend, right? So, like, someone that you don't know, you never met, someone who's paid money regardless if you're happy or not, is going to look up for your best interests. Why do people think this? It's just bizarre. And the fact that the younger generation is really into this, ages 18 to 29, but also ages 30 to 44, I don't know what to say. The future is looking very bleak. I think like these people genuinely need a little bit of communism. Not too much. I would say like 5 years. More than that is inhumane. But like 5 years of communism or any type of dictatorship is going to convince them why privacy is important. Because you can get all of this shit. All of this shit, you can get it into a maximum security prison. You're going to get free healthcare, free food, free clothing. And you can have a camera in your room that supervises you to make sure that everything is fine. So you get your safety as well. You don't get freedom, though, which apparently people don't value anymore. I do not remember the last time I heard in the news America and freedom put together. It used to be a slogan, right? It used to be with that interesting bird that you guys have over there. Well, apparently we don't get that anymore. It's all about equity, diversity, inclusion. Not much when it comes to freedom and liberty. I guess these are outdated concepts. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.